Hello, everyone, and welcome to Journey to the East, a Dragon Ball podcast. I am your host, Danny, and this is our other host.
Yes, I am also a host, a co-host of
Co-host,
sorts.
yeah.
And I am Jack.
I don't want to make it sound like it's a lesser thing.
No.
I mean, equals.
Yes, correct. Maybe
host.
like one might say Goku and Vegeta at some points in the series, or I don't know.
Well, that implies that one of us is noble and the other one's
I'm definitely
never
not
better.
Noble. Yeah, I've related a lot to Vegeta in my time in reading the story, but we can get into that for sure.
I love Vegeta.
What a great example. We're diving deep already. What a great
Here we go.
example of just a character arc throughout the entire series history.
Yeah.
Like, he has changed so much as a character over time, and I've grown to appreciate him.
Probably more than anyone else.
Yeah, because Goku's kind of this consistent. He's this comfortable, but he has grown in other ways too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we are getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yes, we are. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
So we are starting this podcast because Jack and I are huge Dragon Ball fans and fans of Toriyama's work, and there's lots of discourse out there about Dragon Ball. It's one of the biggest, I would say, the biggest manga and anime franchise to come out of Japan, probably ever.
Yeah.
Or at least in everybody's top 5. Like
it's like arguably one of the biggest Japanese properties in history.
Yeah.
Like media properties.
Right.
It's huge.
Right.
I don't know if you saw this, but I think it was this morning, I was scrolling through Twitter, which may or may not be a wise decision.
Oh, what a weird place.
Nexus, I think it is, on Twitter. I found the tweet that they're a Dragon Ball reporter, an Italian Dragon Ball reporter, and the tweet that I found this morning, they talked about Bandai Namco. So it wasn't like specifically manga or anime, but it was manga and anime games or just gaming property IP. And Dragon Ball's in like let's see, it's like in their top 5 or top 6. It's insane for how little there is coming out of the franchise in terms of like its original medium right now, without an active anime, like with nothing like active other than, I mean, they don't even have a new game. There's no manga. There's no anime. There's no movie. There's nothing officially announced other than an event in January, which I'm really excited for. Yeah. It still gives them like an insane 65.1 billion yen. It's projected to like by the end of March 31st, 2026.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then that's really just residual income at this point, because like I said, there's nothing new currently coming out.
Yeah.
Like the most recent thing is the Sparkling Zero game and Daima.
Yep.
Jeez.
Isn't that insane?
It's nuts.
It speaks to, I think, the enduring effect and power and storytelling behind Dragon Ball as a franchise.
Yeah. And and we're gonna get into all that stuff, but
yes.
so we wanted to start this podcast and kind of like add to the discourse and the media surrounding Dragon Ball, because there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot of good stuff that's out there already, but I think we want to take a slightly different angle. Most of the stuff that I consume, at least the third party media surrounding Dragon Ball, like podcasts or videos or anything else like that, really they kind of do like one-off deep dives into topics like Vegeta's transformation, or like the hierarchy of the gods in Dragon Ball's universe, or like the story of how Dragon Ball came to be, or whatever else. Like it's kind of like one-off episodes. I don't see a lot of, at least personally I don't, maybe it's out there, I don't see a lot of third-party media that talks about the story like serialistically, like from beginning to end.
Yeah, I think that's fair. In the research that I've done as well, it seems like much of it is maybe like your typical rewatch commentary, which I think our goal is to avoid just the typical rewatch commentary, and that's why we landed on naming this Journey to the East, right? Because we kind of want to get back to the roots of what it's about and like really dive deep into what this series means. And I remember, I think we had just come out of a movie when I pitched this idea to you, because
what movie were we watching?
I think it was Gladiator 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, like that was such a fun movie. And I remember us talking in the parking lot, and what has stuck with me and why I've kind of, this idea has been something I've wanted to do for a long time, is not just because I like Dragon Ball a lot and I've grown to appreciate it over the years even more than I used to, but the other thing that I've come to realize is I think Dragon Ball is, as a media franchise, it's probably one of the best examples of how do I say this? How you preserve and honor the artistic integrity of the original author. Like, even as it continues into the future. And I think there's some takes on Dragon Ball that can kind of dismiss it as, well, that's just meathead stuff. It's just people punching each other. Yeah,
it's just a shonen. Like,
right.
There's nothing deep about it.
There's nothing deep, which, I used to think, and it's always like consistently been in my top 5, like shonen manga properties. And I used to kind of think like, yeah, it's dumb, it has no plot, but I love it. And as I've gotten older and appreciated more, I'm like, actually, it does have a lot more depth than people give it credit for.
Right. Definitely more than what appears on the surface.
Yes.
Even from the very beginning.
Yes.
Which is kind of, that's one of the genesis ideas, I guess you can say, of what we wanted to do when we were talking about this in the parking lot after Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
It's like, we want to explore that side of it and say, you know what, there is a lot more here to talk about, and there's a lot of depth in the story itself, as well as the inspiration and the history behind it all.
And we're by no means an authority on the matter. I think, at least from my perspective, I want to be learning along with the listeners and viewers of this podcast. I just kind of want to have like a resource for fans, even myself, later to go back and be like, hey, we did this research on this thing and did this deep dive on this chapter, this section. Yeah. And we found some influences and some commentary that maybe when you first watch it, you don't get or you don't appreciate. And this is sort of not the elephant in the room, but like a big part of probably what we're going to continue to reflect on as we get into the series, is that Akira Toriyama passed away last March. And that hit a lot of people really hard. Not just in terms of like, oh, Dragon Ball was part of my childhood, or I really like that manga or anime. But I think like one of the things I remembered seeing, which this is when it kind of like crystallized to me, like how impactful the franchise of Dragon Ball is as a whole. There was a post from, I think it was Stealth 40K or 20K, I think his name is Stealth 40K on Twitter, where and this has been reiterated a number of times, that apparently in Super Mario 64, Miyamoto was interviewed about like how he came up with the running animation for Mario and like what his inspiration was, because like Mario had been 2D at that point, and his design was like very frankly like built around the limitations of the hardware. But Miyamoto apparently said, so Mario runs sort of like a Raleigh-chan with the correct sense of weight in the body.
Oh my goodness.
Like, Nintendo is one of the biggest media franchises in the world. And Mario is one of the most enduring, like he's right up there with Goku for sure. It's
like Goku, Mario, and Pikachu. Like, they're like neighbors.
Like people would see, like you see people know, oh yeah, like I know what that is. So yeah, just like I had seen a tweet that talked about like Arale, one of Toriyama's original works in Dr. Slump,
which was hugely successful in Japan. And he's been influential. This is what I was going to say. He's been influential for decades. Like, when did Dragon Ball premiered in 84, I think, right? 1984.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The manga, the original manga, dropped in 84.
84.
He was already, I was doing some research this morning, watching some videos. He was already the 35th wealthiest man in Japan before Dragon Ball was even conceived, because of Dr. Slump.
That's crazy.
When I heard that, I'm like, oh, it was not a rags to riches story that like Dragon Ball's like, no, he was already a celebrity. Like his wedding was crashed by the paparazzi.
Isn't that crazy? I remember
like 2 years before Dragon Ball came out or whatever. Like I think they got married in him and his wife got married in 1982 is what I remember.
Yeah.
It's like, that's insane. Like, and then Dragon Ball came out, and then all the international fame came. But before that, he was a Japanese media hero.
Yeah.
And like, and even there was, who's the Astro Boy creator?
Oh yeah.
The father of manga. His name is escaping me right now.
I'm looking it up because I'm reading too. But
Look
I know
it
what you're
up.
talking about.
But there was a comment.
Osamu Tezuka.
Yeah, Tezuka. He made a comment that Toriyama was the heir apparent to Japanese manga, as he was like, yeah, right, like to have somebody say that, like to have him say that about you,
yeah,
before Dragon Ball comes out. It's just like, it's insane. It's insane.
And to me, as someone who, so like, I wanted to get into this with you a little bit, just like, and I think we've started to just like dance around it, but just the idea of like what Dragon Ball means to you and like why you like it so much. Because I can say, like, hearing all this stuff is so inspiring to me as an artist, like an artist who's currently like working on my craft and trying to put more of my creative works in the world. I'm a director who has had a lot of opportunities to work on a lot of small projects. I'm in no way anywhere close to like where Akira Toriyama was in his career at his age. And it's just really inspiring, like when you see greatness like that, to strive for something like that.
Right.
So I'm curious, like from your perspective, like what was your first memory or interaction with Dragon Ball? Like when did you? Yeah.
I would love to ask guests these questions.
I know.
Too.
I know.
Just like salivating at the answers that we could get. Like, oh man, to like hear what people's stories are. So Dragon Ball, I don't remember a time in my life where Dragon Ball was not something that I consumed, right? As a media. It's like, it's right up there with Pokemon for me. It's like, there was not a time in Danny's life where he did not know about Pokemon or Dragon Ball. So like I could, and they kind of both, I think, happened roughly the same time. And it was actually my cousin, which makes sense timeline wise. Because we're both products of the 90s in Western countries. So my older cousin actually more or less introduced it to me. We would always be babysat by my grandma, and it was on
was it Toonami?
Toonami, yeah. Yep. It was like mind blank.
Anyone in the West?
It was on Toonami, and on Toonami on Saturdays they would run Dragon Ball.
Yep.
And it would run, I think, later than Pokemon, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was more mature.
Right.
I think.
Right, or maybe it was the late night stuff. But anyway, my cousin was like, "Hey, I started watching this show and it's awesome." It was Dragon Ball Z, of course. It was not Dragon Ball, the original story arc with Child Goku.
Yes.
But we like were hooked, and we like, he was a big WWE fan, so he watched a lot of wrestling stuff too. I was not as into that, but I did get into it briefly just because he was my older cousin, and that's how kids are.
Yeah.
But we would like go outside and we would have pretend battles with each other. We would pretend like we were Goku and Vegeta and fight each other, and then we would like turn around, and then we'd like also do that with Pokemon. Yep. And we'd like be outside like in like an arena in my grandma's backyard and like throw Pokeballs at each other and say, "Go Venusaur." Venusaur. And then he would be like, "I won because I'm older." Like classic like older cousin, older sibling stuff. Yeah. But so like to me, Dragon, like you can maybe call it nostalgia tinged a little bit, but to me, Dragon Ball is very much a part of my upbringing, and my early media influences and my imagination. Yeah. And I think like, again, alongside Pokemon, and if you look at the story of how Pokemon came to be, it was a very like imagination driven idea of like, what if you go out into nature and you just find stuff, like find animals and bugs, like just exploring your world, right? Yeah. And that's kind of like one of the hearts of the original Dragon Ball story to me, is like Goku's exploring the world,
It's
right?
a journey.
And he's journeying
To the west.
journeying to the west. But like he's journeying and becoming older and experiencing the world. And I don't think you understand that as a child at the time, but like looking back as an adult, it's like that's literally what you do when you grow up is you explore the world. And to see a boy, a fictional boy, go through that same thing, it's like you instantly relate to it.
Yep.
Not that you couldn't as a female. I'm not saying that at all, but
right.
Just this fictional character. I mean, Arale would be the same thing, even though she's a machine. Very relatable, I would say.
Yeah.
In a lot of the same ways.
Definitely.
And, I think even Toriyama's editor even said when he was kind of coming up with Dragon Ball and he wanted to use Journey to the West as his inspiration, he originally drew Goku as a monkey. And the editor shot it down immediately. He's like, no, that's not relatable to our target audience, which was young boys at the time. Yeah. Like, especially, like, they notice young boys, especially, like, the shonen. So,
yeah.
Now as an adult, it's like you said, for very similar reasons. As an artist, it's very inspiring to see something just blow up like that from the mind of one person. Like, it's on par to me with the way Tolkien's work blew up.
The world building
and like all of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, that's where Dragon Ball sits with me in my space. It's childhood influential, but also now as an adult, I look back and appreciate what it did for me as a child growing up, but now as an adult and a creative adult, how it inspires me to continue trying to work.
Yeah. Do you remember, I think Burger King had like action figures.
Oh yeah.
Didn't they?
I think it was like, Burger King.
Like I remember getting like a Piccolo one.
I'm gonna look it up.
Like I'm pretty sure buried somewhere at my parents' house in like a bin, there's like a Piccolo figure.
Burger King.
And I remember that. I remember, talking with kids in like my age bracket or around that. And like Dragon Ball was always part of the discussions.
You can buy them on eBay.
You can. Are they stupid expensive?
Well, ones that are open are cheap.
Okay.
But if
collect them all. Right?
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, they're like solid color, gold and silver, or colored, or like colored.
Yeah, I remember that. You sharing a lot of your stories reminds me of just similar stories that I had growing up with, like, just the I think the imagination that came out of all those creative properties like Pokemon or Dragon Ball or Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh. The amount, like, how card playing became this like thing, as a result of that. But yeah, I mean, I remember, I think my first exposure to Dragon Ball was probably Toonami. And I remember actually like initially not liking it when I first saw it when I was really young, because one of my earliest memories is the like Frieza and Goku fight, like when Goku like turns into Super Saiyan, and like seeing that on Toonami, and like I was into Justice League and Pokemon and like whatever else Toonami had on, because they like really captured in the West for any international listeners in the West, they really captured the minds of the youth at the time. They tapped into just something that, I mean, like a lot of Japanese media has with like Power Rangers and Godzilla and stuff like that. Like I was a huge Godzilla fan growing up, but with Dragon Ball, I remember initially being like, I don't get this, like when I was really young, because I was like, I just see lots of blood, limbs being cut off of people and screaming.
It was a little mature. Yeah.
Right. It was definitely beyond me, because a few years later, I went into the library one day and I picked up volume 1 of Dragon Ball Z, I should say.
The manga or the anime?
The manga.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I picked up.
You said volume.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's fair. I picked up volume 1 of Dragon Ball Z, which would be what, like volume of the original 42 volumes, somewhere in the middle,
2018, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head,
because there was the whole, which it's very common in shonen now, or at least it's been done a lot, the idea that there's a time skip like small or large between like certain points in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened in the original Dragon Ball media, where there's a time skip between the end of the original Dragon Ball material when Goku was a kid to a teenager,
mm-hmm.
and then when he becomes an adult. And most people in the West, I think their first introduction was probably Z, like when he becomes an adult. And it was mine as well. And I remember just getting hooked on the manga and falling in love with that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I watched stuff like GT and everything, and the original anime as well. But like the manga is where I really became a huge fan. And I remember having a long discussion with my mom one time, because I'd tear through like a volume in a night. Like when when we would pick it up from the library.
I mean, it is a fast read.
It is.
The chapters are pretty short, especially like the Dragon Ball chapters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like when you get into it, you know, like I obsess about stuff like that. And I'm like, I want to learn, and I want to read more about it. I want to see what happens next. And I feel like the serialized nature, like, it was really strong with that series of just getting you to care about what happens next.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like the one-upping of everything, like from arc to arc. But I had a long conversation with my mom because she saw me reading through these quick, and she was like, why do you like this? I think she was kind of concerned about like me getting into some of this material. And I told her, and I don't know how you feel about it, but to me, and this is still to this day, like what I love about Dragon Ball and what it has inspired so many shonen and like storytelling sense, is the idea that if you put like hard work and effort behind something,
mm-hmm.
it can be rewarded if you like aspire for greatness.
Yeah.
And the putting of your friends and family first, and the wanting to protect them.
Yeah.
Like how much power you have in that.
Right.
Like I think that's such a great message.
Yeah.
And I said that at like, you know, middle school age.
Well, I was not saying that at 11 years old.
my mom, I didn't say it as eloquently, but I explained like, well, you know, seeing Goku like work hard and overcome this stuff, it's inspiring or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I've seen that.
I just like the big
series.
muscles.
Yes, that's the only reason. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and definitely pretending to Kamehameha and like your hair turn yellow.
Right. Like it inspired power.
Yeah,
I guess as a young lad.
Yes,
Inspired me to feel like I was powerful and I could take on anything. So I suppose in that sense,
yeah,
it did hit me in the same way. I just didn't realize it.
Right. Well, even like as we talk about it, like the Kamehameha and Super Saiyan, like
mm-hmm.
those are such huge cultural. Like you don't have to have read or watched Dragon Ball in any capacity to know what that is, because it's impacted so much of media or whatever. Like Street Fighter, like friggin' took the Hadouken was inspired by the Kamehameha. I double checked. I looked it up. Like Kamehameha was first. Came first. Yeah. And Supersonic and like the Sonic
strangely
series.
Similar.
yeah. I was like, which one's first?
Yeah.
But and like Supersonic and the Sonic series, that's basically Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah, the Golden Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing. You've got like the 7 Chaos Emeralds and the 7 Dragon Balls, and it operates differently mechanically, but still, just it's so cool. Like the impact from a world building sense. Like we've not. I honestly don't think there's another franchise that has matched Tolkien and like George Lucas with the world he built in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Other than Dragon Ball, like I think that's kind of.
Yeah, I'm like. Now I'm doing a quick scan of my brain. Like, what else is up there as far as world building, and longevity? Because that's both. Those are both things. Like,
huge.
Because like you could take like George R. R. Martin's work, right? There's a lot of world building in there, but and time will tell if it still has the longevity.
Yeah. It's still being written.
It's still being written, right? It's still being worked on, and the show was a show.
Yes, it was. R.I.P.
Right.
Yeah.
Season 8. I think everyone agrees on season 8 being like
I saw a take that basically was like, I've never seen something just like perform so poorly with the audience. Like no matter what you think of it, the audience utterly rejected it to the point that it basically wiped it from public consciousness. Like no one remembers favorably or talks about the show. And like the show was amazing.
The show's great.
Point. Yeah.
I haven't read the books, but the show was awesome.
Well, you've got time because the books are still being written.
Yeah,
apparently. They were written since
anyway.
the 90s.
So like so like world building wise, what else is Tolkien's work?
Yeah.
Maybe the Dune series.
Yeah. That's
inspired now a couple different movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a TV show. Is there
there's a TV show. There's another movie that's coming out.
Right.
Because the first two
Chronicles of Narnia, I suppose, would be up there.
Yeah.
Like,
that's also.
But he's a contemporary of Tolkien, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
my thing with Chronicles of Narnia and all those books is like, I think they're good, and like I think Christians really appreciate and like the material very well.
Yeah.
But I would never put it in the same league as like Tolkien's. Like, sure, it's impactful, but it doesn't have the same enduring creative like impact that something like Tolkien's work does.
And I would, in the depths that Tolkien had. I mean,
yes,
like, he spent his entire life essentially creating and thinking about that stuff, whether he knew it or not at the time or early on in his life. Like I'm reading through his the biography on him by Humphrey Carpenter. It's a fantastic read if you want to do more Tolkien deep diving, but like even from like 4 years old, he was already basically forming what would eventually become the Lord of the Rings world. Right? It wasn't anything like, it was like kind of the foundational stuff, right?
Right. But, yeah.
So anyway, like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, besides Middle Earth and
Star Wars,
right?
I just can't think of a single enduring IP that has that relevance and that effect on like the world.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars has impacted the world, so has Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Dragon Ball has too.
Right. I mean, Harry Potter? Is that worth bringing up?
I think, I think it's up there for sure. I recently rewatched the movies with my wife stuff because she had some surgeries earlier in the year, and when she was on bed rest, there wasn't much to do except watch movies, and I was between gigs, so I had a lot of time too, and like, oh my goodness, I have a lot of respect for the storytelling in Harry Potter because I thought it was, I was like, wow, I forgot how good this was.
It's really good.
But in the same breath, I think, I mean, it's up there, I guess. I don't know if I'd put it in the same league as Tolkien. Like, it's up there though. Yeah,
it's usually brought up in discussion when you're talking about this kind of thing. That's why
the storytelling is really good.
Yeah.
I think like the characters and the character development in that series is insanely good because you watch this little boy turn into this like super accomplished, powerful wizard. Like, maybe not technically by the end of the series. It's more like an aftermath thing, I guess, spoilers, but
there may be spoilers
on
this show, by the way.
Oh, what, of Dragon Ball? We might yeah I think our intent is to get through this series like serially, like in order, chronological order, but we won't we won't be afraid to touch on stuff that happens later, especially because of where this series is at right now.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like, Daima came out last year, but did you finish it? I can't remember.
I did finish it. Yes.
Okay.
It's very good.
Yes. Yeah. What a fantastic.
That might be a hot take for some people, but it's very good.
Yeah.
Daima is good.
Yes. Okay. No, I really enjoyed Daima, and just the way it ends with that like post-credit scene. A lot of people have been like, okay. And like, also, the monkey in the room is like, okay, so they revealed.
I see what you did there.
They revealed this transformation that is never mentioned in Super.
Right.
So are they just ignoring that?
There's a lot to hash out there, I think.
There's a lot of talk about like the Japanese like media moguls who run the Dragon Ball franchise that like, and I think you could say this about Toriyama too when he was alive, that like they didn't care about canon so much or continuity. It's just like, we're just making cool stuff.
Yeah.
They care less about the like making sense of things like we do.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think that they don't care at all.
No,
because like they clearly had an intent with where
and there were editors for a reason.
Yes. So I think
to the extent that maybe Tolkien was, going through his own work with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
And like constantly making sure everything always made sense always.
Right.
Like there's not much that compares to these two franchises.
Right.
And Star Wars, like you said, but even Star Wars has its own.
Oh yes. No,
but
this stuff is all imperfect.
Oh,
not
yeah,
perfect.
no, there is no perfect world that's ever been made.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, that's a really, really good point, and then probably will come up several times in this show.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that's anything else you wanted to talk about as far as like your personal Dragon Ball?
Yeah.
journey?
I think I just like, again, I said this earlier, but I think originally I finished it and I was like, wow, this is such great like action shonen, like one of the most influential, clearly.
Mhm.
Like it's one of the GOATs, like it's one of the best, like
Right.
100%.
Right.
But I never have like really reflected on the depth of it until I've gotten older. And honestly, Super, which I know there are various opinions on Dragon Ball Super, the sequel series, which is very clearly connected and a part of the existing ethos and mythos in Dragon Ball. Like Toriyama was involved with it, unlike something like GT, which I think it warrants us talking about like what material we are going to look at least as it stands currently. But yeah, I think I've just been impressed with the depth that there is to the series over time, and like Super has made me appreciate the original story even more, even with it being a beautiful mess of a series. Like my opinion is that Dragon Ball Super is this beautiful, beautiful mess. Like it does so many things to honor what came before. Like the Ultra Instinct transformation is really like paying homage to Goku's entire journey to me, which we can save for when we get there one day.
Right. Yeah. Little teaser.
Yeah. But like, it's also very messy canonically. And I think part of that is, the Japanese not caring so much about like how stuff connects, and also like just wanting to tell cool stories. So I just am excited to get more into it.
Right. Yeah. So I guess we should probably move into a little bit of how the structure of how this show is going to work.
Yeah.
Because we could keep talking about the influence and philosophy of everything all day, but basically our idea is to work through the series serialistically, starting with, and this is important, starting with the original Dragon Ball story from Volume 1, Chapter 1, with little boy Goku in the mountains, almost being killed by Bulma with a gun.
Yeah. Yes. It's important.
Like, it's very important that we start there, because that is the genesis of everything.
Yep.
And that story is the genesis of everything. And I think like starting anywhere else would be disingenuous to the work as a whole.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I know that's probably how 99% of our listeners probably were introduced to Dragon Ball, because the Dragon Ball manga, I think, I might be wrong here, I think the Dragon Ball the Dragon Ball anime was aired after Z in Western countries.
That sounds right.
Is that right?
I think so. I'd have to do some fact checking on that, but I'm pretty sure that's
I could
the
be
case.
wrong, and we're going to probably be wrong on this show a lot too.
We are not meant to be an authority. We're just looking into
a lot of this stuff is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I suppose I have an iPad. I could look it up, but that would also derail the flow here. But I think it's really important that we start at the beginning, because it lays the groundwork for everything. Everything about the show and about Toriyama and his work. We have to start at Chapter 1. And I say Chapter 1 because we're gonna go through, I think we should at least go through mostly following the manga, because that's the original penned work from Toriyama's brain. The anime he definitely helped with and everything else, but there were other writers, and that was an adaptation at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's not I know the canon topic is tricky with this, with our particular fandom. It's not as cut and dry as like the canon discussion with Tolkien, but like to me, anything that Toriyama wrote or drew more or less on his own should be viewed as like the top of the canon pyramid.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I think it's important that that's sort of the heartbeat of like where we go. And I think,
I should say maybe the base of the pyramid.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Sure. Yeah. However, whatever's viewed as like the core.
Right.
Of
it's the core. Right.
Yeah. I think as we go through chapters and arcs, like we will talk about what was adapted for the anime and also, I mean, the thing about Dragon Ball is it's not just anime or manga, it's also games. Like that's a big part of it too.
Right.
And like the game Kakarot, which I've not played through yet.
Great
in any
game.
capacity.
It's so fun.
Well, that's good. I'm looking forward to that because like there was original material, to my understanding, that Toriyama penned for the game.
Yeah.
As sort of like interstitial bits.
Right.
Like and that's important.
Yeah, and he helped out with filler episodes in the anime too. And came up with like Pycon.
Right.
Like an extra character who'd like, to my surprise, first time I read through the manga, was not in there at all. I'm like, where is this dude? I love him. He's not in the show. He's not in the manga. So
there's whole arcs.
There are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I mean, aside from that, like Daima is an anime only at this time, original material that Toriyama like wrote for, design, came up with like.
But there were other writers involved too with that, and animators and illustrators and everything else. So it's, again, to me, it's like not quite at the same level as like the original 42 volumes.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a nice continuation of what came before. Just like Super in many regards is it's like a sequel series, a continuation to it. And I think we'll spend a lot of time talking about, especially because Super is ongoing. Did you play any of Fighter Z? So that's this guy, Android 21 arc. That I'm okay with leaving that out if you were like, I don't know, because it's really weird. Like if you look up or watch anything from Fighter Z, or Fighters or whatever it's called, I call it Fighter Z. But there's like two different versions of the storyline that you play. You play it from like Goku's perspective, and then you play it from the villain's perspective, and then you play like from the android's perspective. And the android one is supposed to be like what it actually is, but it doesn't quite fit neatly because Super, but it can sort of work if you don't think about it too hard. So that's kind of where I'm like, well, it might be good to touch on it because maybe this is just like Dragon Ball drawing from certain things at different times, but I'm pretty sure someone in the decision making of Dragon Ball said that Dragon Ball Fighters has a canon story, or it does, like kind of like Kakarot. Yeah. Like that game has like some original material. Right. Which would be good to touch on as well. Right.
And yeah, I actually had I'm trying to convince my sister-in-law, who's a huge otaku, who's never like seen or read or done anything Dragon Ball ever, which I think is a crying shame.
Wow.
She's never seen it or anything, and she's like, it's so intimidating, it's so long. I'm like, I mean, sure.
I don't know if
it's long. It's a longer anime, right? Like,
let's talk about One Piece.
Yeah, let's talk about One Piece.
We're talking about something that's long,
or like something that drags out. Like Inuyasha's great, but
yeah,
it kind of just is like, all right, here's episode 2 ZZ.
Yeah. Well, even Berserk. Have you read any of that?
A little bit.
Like that is close to 400 chapters.
Yeah,
and it's been running since.
Yeah, like One Piece. It's just like it's so intimidating, so long. Like, just watch it, or watch Kai. And then I told her, I'm like, okay, play the Kakarot video game.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think that whatever gets you. We should probably talk about this too, but like gatekeeping also.
That
happens a lot with like Star Wars too, and any fandom, like Tolkien, for example. Like people are like, you must read the books. And it's like, no, you can watch the movies first. It's okay.
Yeah. It's like just find
whatever gets you into the fandom is good.
Yes.
Even if it's Rings of Power.
Yes. And we don't gatekeep people.
Or the Hobbit films.
Yes. If it gets you excited about the world. Yeah. But like, to me, like those arcs that are in games and in anime that like Toriyama had involvement with to some degree, some capacity, if he legitimately had direct contact with it, then that makes sense. So that's stuff like the original Dragon Ball, which includes the child arcs, NZ, the Kakarot stuff, Daima, the super arcs, maybe Android 21 arc from Fighters or Fighter Z, whatever it's called, because he may have had some involvement to some degree with that. We'll figure it out. But beyond that, I mean, like, hate to break it to a lot of the fans out there of this side story, but like, I have no intention, I don't think you do either, of touching on GT very much.
No. And he was sort of involved with that, right?
I mean,
or was he just consulted?
I think I could be wrong, but from what I remember, he did character designs.
Okay.
But he didn't, like, in Super, he gave notes, and then the team, like, adapted stuff and then came back to him, both for the manga and the anime, which was concurrent, and why, in large parts, it's so messy. Because, like, Toriyama would give notes, the teams would come back to him, he'd give them further edits and notes, and then they'd go and, like, make it, and then come back to him, and so on and so forth until it was ready. So, like, he was heavily involved in the production of the movies that led into Super, and in Daima, like, he was more involved with that than any other animated project he's ever been involved with, Toriyama was.
Right.
So, like, he was pretty directly involved with those, but for GT, my understanding is he basically... like, he designed Super Saiyan 4 for that series, maybe some other characters, although I think it was Nakatsuru, who was, like, a key animator on the team, who had worked on Dragon Ball Z and continued to work on GT. I think he kind of, like, spearheaded a lot of the character designs and the overall direction as far as, like, how it visually looked. And Toriyama commented, there's, like, this quote or whatever he did for the box set of GT back in the day where he... He called it, like, this beautiful side story, and people have been up in arms about that ever since, because they've been like, well, GT's awesome, and it's like, okay. Also, like, just to be completely real and frank, I'm not a huge fan of GT.
Neither am I.
I think it has some elements of it that are admirable. Like, I'm not a big fan of Super Saiyan 4. I know there are many people who will stab me with a pitchfork for saying that. And I can appreciate that. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, but... I do like the ending of GT in some respects. Yeah. There's things about it that I like. I like how they represent Pan in the series. I think that's cool. But otherwise, there's just a lot that I kind of take or leave.
So, we just got done recording the first episode and realized that it went almost 2 hours.
Yes, it's quite long.
Yeah, so we're re-recording now this little segment to tell you that we will be back.
Yes.
Part 2 of Journey to the East, which will be, I guess, episode 1-2.
Yeah, like we're sort of the introduction broken into. Like, yeah. As we are setting up, like, where we're going to take this series.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there'll be 2 episodes, but it's 1 episode, just in 2 parts.
Yes.
Like a good anime that opens with, or like a good show that opens with like a really long pilot episode.
Yeah.
Or a good podcast that opens with a really long first episode that's broken into 2 parts.
Yes.
So look forward to part 2 coming out soon, which we will still be a continuation of episode 1. And then episode 2, which will be the 3rd installment, will actually be when we get things going with the story.
Yes. It will be a grand journey.
It will not be confusing at all.
No, not like Dragon Ball at all.
So, looking forward to journeying with you in part 2.
Yes.